Cedric Story on the Mississippi Sports Report. We're going to be talking to a very special guest today, Mr. Rico McDonald. How you doing today?
Doing good, man. Appreciate y'all having me.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming in. Kid, how you making? You ready for a big night of football tonight?
Man, ready for a big night. Ready to talk to the GOAT right here.
Yeah, well, you got
Delta State.
the are you still the all-time leading rusher?
I
You still the all-time leader?
Yeah.
Ain't nobody.
And still.
All right, guys. So this is Mississippi Sports Report. We're going to be talking to Rico McDonald. We're here at the RCTV 19 studios. We're going to have a brief word from our sponsor. We'll be right back.
This is Public Service Commissioner Brandon Presley, and I'm glad to join you on TV 19.
Brandon Press going to be the coach.
Coverage of our local sports. You know, coming from a small town, I started out as mayor of Nettleton in my first political job. I understand clearly how important bringing our communities together, sometimes just over a football game, can help make us better as a state and can help make our communities stronger. I hope tonight that your favorite team will win. One of the reasons I've worked hard to bring high-speed internet service to our rural communities is so that you'll be able to sit at home and have coverage of your favorite hometown football team or baseball team straight from the comfort of your chair. One of the reasons that I fought hard for broadband service to get expanded also is to make sure that our rural children, some of whom will be playing on the field tonight, have access to world-class education, that our seniors have access to high-quality medical service through telehealth and telemedicine, and that we give our working families in Mississippi a chance to participate in the modern economy. We've got to move Mississippi forward, and we can only do that by bringing our communities together. And like I said, sometimes it's over a football game between rivals, but when the game's over, we come together. And that's my vision for the state of Mississippi, that we work hard, we play hard, but at the end of the day, we bring people together just like
All right, guys. So here we are back in studio. So, Kid, I know you got some stuff together.
Yeah.
We're going to start off talking about, for those of you, a lot of you watching probably know this, but just for those who don't, Rico's one of the all-time great Ripley Tiger football players. I think that is fair to say. You're a 1997 graduate.
98.
98.
Mm-hmm.
97 football season,
Right.
but 98 year. Yeah, 97 was your last year playing. And you're currently a coach at Amory?
Yes, sir.
What are you coaching at Amory?
Coach DBs.
Coach defensive backs, which is what you've kind of, I know you were running back. You played some defensive back too in high school. Of course, you kind of made your name as a running back later, but you played a lot of defense back in the day, and you've coached a lot of defense since then. So Amory, of course, I think I just saw the latest poll. You guys were the number one ranked 3A team in the state on Mississippi High School Sports page.
Somewhere up there, 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah. A couple different polls had you in a couple different spots, but still, y'all are having a really good year, really, really good stuff. So, Ked, what do we got for Rico today? What are we going to talk about?
Yeah, man. For those of you, like I said, that didn't know, Rico was a great running back here at Ripley. Set the single game record of 350 against Amory, the school he's coaching at now. And he said it's been a topic all the time. How many times do people bring that up?
At least 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Just the people there at Amory, man, they love football. They are a football community, and they remember like they had a lot of success there, and during that time, they were the top dogs in the state of Mississippi, and so for us to go down there and do what we did, they remember it, and they always bring it up when I talk to people.
Was Bobby Hall the coach?
He was.
There? And Will was
a quarterback.
Will was a quarterback. For those of you who don't know, it's a current Southern Miss head football coach, Will Hall. And Bobby Hall, of course, a coaching legend in Mississippi. He's coached JUCOs and high schools and won everywhere he's been. So, to go down there and do that against that team especially is probably means a lot. And you being there too now, I guess maybe a little bit full circle.
And I think we kind of guesstimated you probably had about 3,500 total yards for your career, a bunch of touchdowns, and then you went on to Delta State. And there, like we said, you are the all-time leading rusher, 3,285 yards at Delta State. Your freshman season said you played fullback, but you helped Delta State win their 5th Gulf South Conference championship, won a national championship in 2000 as a junior. That year you had 1,637 yards, and you had 4 touchdowns against Valdosta State. You was named all Gulf South Conference first team, and you was a preseason All-American as a senior. And that year, 1,151 yards and 15 touchdowns. So you reached
Big
the pay
boy
dirt a lot.
numbers.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I feel it now though.
Yeah.
Like, but just kind of going back on that, it was like it was a great experience for me. People ask me all the time if I had a chance to change anything as far as how all that went. I wouldn't change it. If I had to go back again today and do it again.
Yeah.
I'd do it again because I just believe that everything that we do is what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And a lot of different things happen. A lot of pieces didn't fall the way they were supposed to fall, but like I said, I wouldn't change none of that, man. I'd do it all over again if I had a chance.
Could you see yourself if someone told you as soon as you got to Delta State that you would end up with numbers?
All-time
Like
leading end up
Yeah.
as the all-time leading
Yeah.
rusher there.
Could you see yourself?
I probably could, not trying to sound arrogant or anything, but I just knew, how much work that I put in, and I knew how much I was going to apply myself to what I needed to do because I set goals for myself. And, if somebody did ask, I probably would say that because I knew that with the opportunity that I was going to put in the work to get to where I, do what I needed to do. So
Yeah.
I always been a quiet guy, not, a lot of, not all the noise, everything, man, just kind of did what I did behind the scenes
Yeah,
to
just keep your head
to
down,
get
just
right, just grinded and and I was able to, do some things, man.
Yeah. And John, I know you wanted to ask him about the Faulkner game.
Yeah, so we're going to back up a little to your time at Ripley. You was on some great teams at Ripley. I had some really quality players come through while you were there. Of course, you being for sure one of them. But I know a big rivalry that's no longer a rivalry. Back in these days, Faulkner and Ripley was a big time rivalry game. Faulkner had, of course, some very good squads.
Right.
Bradley and Big Prather and just Shanish, several great players as well. So I know you used to. We're gonna tie this into tonight's game, which is a big rivalry game. But back in those days, man, when Ripley and Faulkner played, there would be people there was nowhere to sit. I mean, you couldn't have shoehorned somebody into the stands. But but at the game at Ripley, the game at Faulkner, which would have been your junior year, I think we decided.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there were people standing literally up on the highway, just trying to watch a little bit of the game.
Yeah.
Do you think that? And so Ripley New Albany tonight, of course, is a big rivalry game. Would you say back when you played, there were more people at the Faulkner Ripley game or more people at the New Albany Ripley game?
I want to say, like then, Ripley and Faulkner was the first game every year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you had the whole summer,
Trash talk.
Right, the build up
Yep.
the whole summer, and it was always the first game of the year. And I can remember like every year, like the crowd was crazy, and the game that you're talking about, with Faulkner being right on side of Highway 15, people were standing on the highway. So I would say then, just not just because when I played, but just remembering how the rivalry were, how everything was then, like and that was a big deal. Like it was Tipper County, like we never played Walnut or anybody else, so Ripley and Faulkner was always that game, and like you said, it was some great football players that played at Faulkner, and then we had our share too. So it was a big deal, man. Like I wish that somehow they could get back to that, like because I remember those games, man. It was crazy, like how how the crowd were, just like I said, the whole summer the build up was just, and we all knew each other. We all hung out, man, and so it was a lot.
Bragging rights.
It was a big deal, man.
And that was the 2 questions I had. Did you notice the crowd, or like did you take a moment like during the game and be like, wow, this is a big crowd? And also, what was it like hearing from Pig and the whole slum? I mean, what was that like?
Like you always like, I don't know, just the way I am. This is how I approached it. Like when you come out, you go to pregame, then you go back in. Then when you come back out, a lot of times that's when the crowd's there.
Yeah.
So you kind of, before you run out, you kind of stand there and look and kind of take everything in. And then it'll be moments during the game, like during timeouts, um, things like that, to where you just kind of standing, off to the side or in a huddle or something. You can just kind of glance around and,
Yeah.
that's just the way I did things. And then just like with me and Pete, I'm like, we never really just talked about it though.
Yeah.
Like we all understood that, we was this off the field, but when we got on the field, it was all competition.
Yeah.
Like we really never talked about, you had some guys that we're gonna beat y'all, but a lot of times it was the people that wasn't playing, people that had
Yeah.
played.
Yeah.
As far as the guys that was in the game, like I can't remember us just ever sitting around saying like, man, we're gonna beat y'all this year. We never did that. We was just all cool and we just played football, and it's just the way times were then, man. We didn't really do it like that.
Everybody said one more cool question. I just thought of like with games like that, how much betting do you think was going on the side? Have you ever thought about that?
I ain't never thought about it, but I can
Oh
imagine.
no, there
like,
definitely were some.
I guarantee it was.
Were some $20 bets.
Yeah, I
Or bigger,
guarantee you.
back
Yeah,
back
it
in
was.
those days. Yeah.
It was a lot of that going on, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, so I know y'all. So we talked about just a little. Y'all were having a great season this year. So can you tell me a little bit about your expectations of your team going forward? Do y'all have any just goals and expectations for this season?
Well, yeah. Last year they played
They
for the
play
state
for the state,
championship.
and this is your first. This is
My
your first year at Amory. Yeah.
And a lot of the guys coming back, man, and we've been pretty fortunate so far not to have any injuries. We lost the opening week to Itawamba, 35-28.
Very good at a Wamba team.
And
another rival. Talking about rivalry, that's a
right.
big rivalry game.
And we won 6 in a row. Coming off the game last night, we won, and we got a big one, a real huge game next week at home against Knoxville County.
Yeah.
So we'll be able to see where we are next week.
Well, good, man. We always like seeing local people do well. We were talking about earlier about Miss Deja Rogan going over. So anytime we can have somebody local on the program here to talk to about what they've got going and kind of where your career has been up to this point and everything, we appreciate you, and we're glad to see you having such success. Everywhere you've been. You've been on some successful teams, so that's great.
I do want to ask about the national championship run.
Mm-hmm.
What's that like, or what was that like during the?
I don't know about anybody else that's ever been in the national championship, but we had a coach that was like Coach Campbell was he was a man. Like I can remember week 12, we still running 110s after practice. Like that's just the way he was. That was the approach that he took, and that's what we took on. You know what I'm saying? But just the thing that I most remember, man, is just the grind, like from July all the way to December, man, and it's just like 15. We played 15 games, man, and it was just tough.
Like NFL.
Yeah, it was just tough, man. Like I can remember points in the season, man, like 9 weeks into the season, and you just start like questioning yourself. That's just normal, But then you just we lost, I think, the 9th game of the season, and it kind of woke us up a little bit, and we ended up getting in the playoffs, man, and just making a run. And the thing that I most remember, man, and just is just how we were just as close as a group as I've ever been around, man. And you got to have it, man. And we was just a real close group from offense to defense to everything, and I think that's why we was as successful.
I think your most successful teams you'll see, typically are going to have that, really close, especially in it's a slightly smaller college,
Right.
and so I think maybe high school JUCO, Delta State even, and at that time, so they were 1 AA or Division
Division
two?
two.
Division two. I know it's changed up several times on how what they actually call it. Who was in your district or the Gulf South Conference? Who was it made up of? at that
North
time?
Alabama,
UNA.
Yeah, that's right.
Valdosta State.
Yep.
Arkansas Tech, Central Arkansas, Southern Arkansas, Arkansas Monticello,
Mm-hmm.
dang, in Georgia. I can't think of his name, but so those were pretty much the schools. North Alabama, which were won
Yeah, 'cause
3
they
in a
won,
row in the
yeah.
early
They were
90s.
a powerhouse.
They
yeah.
were the school,
Yeah.
and during that time, and then Valdosta, the years that my last 2 years, Valdosta State was the team. They had Dusty Bonner, who had started at Kentucky for 2 years, transferred to Valdosta State, and had 2 great years. Ended up winning Division II Heisman 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
And my junior year, the year that we won it, those are the only 2 games they lost. We beat them there, and then we beat them in the playoffs at home. So just to kind of, as I'm talking about Valdosta State, this is kind of something I tell my son all the time, and a couple of my guys that I hang out with. Y'all probably don't know this, but a lot of people don't know this. I can say that that I am a running back that rushed for over 100 yards and 4 touchdowns against a Kirby Smart, Will Muschamp defense.
Oh yeah.
Because they were
Yeah.
the defensive coordinators at Valdosta State whenever
Valdosta State
whenever we
produced them.
played.
That's what I'm
So
talking about.
I just that's just something I
Man,
mess with my son about a lot of times.
Man,
Like,
I would tweet that every weekend.
Oh yeah, you see Kirby, they're leading the nation in whatever scoring defense or were at one time. Be like, listen, I know how to bust this defense up.
But he was the Muschamp was the DC, and Kirby was the defensive back coach. So that's just kind of something fun that
Well,
I mess with my son about a lot of times.
Every weekend. I promise.
Yeah, I would definitely be. I'd definitely be highlighting that myself. I don't have nothing cool like that to talk about. So, okay, so I tell you what, we're going to take just a really quick commercial break. We're going to get back. We're going to talk about Ripley, New Albany tonight. We'll talk about maybe a couple games you played against them and your thoughts tonight. I know you probably kept up a little bit about both those teams. So give us just a second. We'll take a real quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
And I appreciate you allowing me to join you tonight on TV 19.
Yeah, I
Here's
be
the
messing
best
with my
of your
son
favorite
about
team
that
that is playing on
sometimes,
the
just
field tonight.
sitting around and
CB&S Bank
Kirby
wishes
Smart
good
was
luck to Walnut,
Will
Faulkner, and
Muschamp was the
Ripley
defensive
football
coach
teams
at
this
Valdosta.
season. Come see them at 13331 Mississippi 15 in Ripley or at 28171 Mississippi 15 in Walnut. Farrow Ward Ford has been your local source for cars, trucks, and SUVs since 1952. They wish good luck to all our Tippah County teams in the 2022 football season. Stop by and see them in Ripley or call at 662-837-3001. Fiesta Grill sends their...
All right, so we are back here. We're talking with Mr. Rico McDonald, me and Kedrick Story, the Mississippi Sports Report. So we've talked a little bit about your career, kind of what you're doing now at Amory. We've got a big rivalry game here in Tippah County tonight with Ripley and New Albany. In my opinion, the winner of this game is kind of in the catbird seat for the district title.
Yeah.
I know you played in this. You played. I mean, y'all played every year. You played New Albany every year.
Yeah.
Do you remember what your record was against New Albany?
I want to say 2-1, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were a division game for us then too.
Yeah.
But
Y'all been in and out of Ripley's
Yeah.
been in and out of the district with them a couple times. They've 3A, 4A, et cetera, et cetera. And like I said, it's still a big district game tonight. Well, in a big rivalry game, the Highway 15 rivalry, those teams are very close. Do you think that adds a little bit to, it's a big district game. So would you think it's bigger for it being a district game to the kids? I know as a coach, you're going to say it's bigger because it's a district game.
Right.
But to the kids, is it bigger because they know he's, nowadays, as you know, like these kids are talking a lot more than probably back in the day. So would you say it's bigger because they're, a lot of these kids have known each other a long time,
Right.
hang out with each other, talk Snapchat, whatever, talking garbage. Do you think it's bigger because of that and they know the kids so well, or bigger because they're like, this is a district game that we know we got to take care of the kids?
I think for the kids, the coach is going to approach it as a division game, so they're going to hear that part of it. But I think as a kid, they probably saying all the other stuff because they know these kids. It's Ripley, New Albany, so they kind of understand that part of it. But on the other side of it, they understand this division game too. But I mean, you 15, 16, 17 years old, man. So, the kids going to always think that part of it. And with all the social media and all this stuff now, they won't ever, somebody reminding them every day about
every
that.
day,
So,
yeah. And then a lot of even the adults are, so much trash talking going on in groups and group texts and Snapchat and Facebook and everything, Twitter, just talking garbage that, I think that adds an extra layer to it. And I saw too that, and Ken, I don't know if you had seen this or not, but they're doing a tailgate tonight at Ripley. Some of the parents are getting together and tailgating before the game.
Oh yeah, and also they're honoring the
92
team. I was on that team. That was one heck of a team.
Was your dad?
My dad was coach.
Was the coach, yeah.
Yeah, but Len McGee was head coach. My dad was assistant at Ricky Hamilton. Vince Jordan.
Coach Hamilton.
Ricky Hamilton.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, Vince Jordan. Yeah.
Yeah, and
who were some other players on that team?
Oh man, you had Jason Scott at quarterback, Derek McDonald, at your uncle
Joey Bryant,
O'Neal, Jackson, Joe Collier, Joey Bryant.
Was Dennis on that team?
No, Dennis was he was on the year before.
Bud Luster.
Had Bud, had Ronnie McCafferty,
and they had a squad.
Shane Robertson, Spencer Holly.
And that team was
and Spencer Holly's foot was down in Pontotoc at the North Half Championship game. It was down to this day.
Ben Ashley, if you're watching this, you heard what he said.
I'm telling you, his foot was down inbound, which would have tied the game up.
Yeah.
Now, man, that game, like you talking about, like crowds and stuff. I still remember to this day. I still remember that crowd. I mean, it was.
I can remember
at least 5,000.
I was like
5,000 people.
I mean to cut you off. I can remember I was like a seventh grader, I think maybe.
Yeah.
And I can remember the last few plays. They ran a reverse pass.
Oh man!
And they threw it down the sideline to Cameron Floyd.
Oh my God.
And like I was in the end zone, like how Pontotoc set up. I was in the end zone, and he was running down Pontotoc sideline. And I can remember, never forget it, the crowd just seeing him going down that sideline. Everybody on Pontotoc side was up, and he started doing his little dance going down there. I remember that. I was like 6th, 7th grade.
Man, they ran reverse option pass.
Yep.
Somebody bit, Gerald Robinson. It was Cameron Floyd.
Gerald Robinson.
No, it was Robinson.
Robinson threw it to Floyd.
Yeah, man, Robinson to Floyd, and it was like, man, just like what he said. When he scored, I have never heard anything get so loud, man. And they broke into that chop. Oh man, I heard that for like months, just as loud as it was. I mean, it was.
Yeah. It's crazy how I remember that. Like, I think I was 6th to 7th grade, but I can remember it like. Some stuff you just don't forget. Man.
Yeah, that's true.
And that was our biggest rivalry when I was in school. Like Pontotoc was the game.
And they had some really good. They were
really good
that's who in the 90s. Especially.
That was our rival in high school. Pontotoc was like that was the game for us, man.
Yeah, but that was man. But that team would be honored tonight. So I hope a lot of them come out.
I think there probably will be because I mean, just because a lot are probably maybe planning on coming to the game anyway, just because it's a big Ripley, New Albany game.
And
so
Michael Hash, he set that up. He said they're gonna try to do it like for some more teams. So I figure he'll be get in touch with you too on down the line. But something they wanted to do, and since this was 30 years, he decided, this will be.
And that team was 10-1,
11-2.
11-2. I knew
both games was to Pontotoc.
Both losses to Pontotoc.
8-6 in game 3, 10-3 in the last game.
Yep.
Who was the kicker for Ripley to get the 3 points in both those?
That was
Jay Jackson.
Yeah. Jay Jackson was the kicker. Cause I forgot to bring it, but I pulled up the Don Martini's
the book.
the history book, but it had the scores.
You could see, like, where the grass, like where his foot,
Yeah.
he caught the ball in the back of the
Yes,
end
man.
zone.
Oh no, I've heard about it
Oh,
from all
man.
Ripley people
Man, I was
Yeah.
hurt. Man, I
since
was
that
hurt.
happened. Basically,
Yeah.
man, there are many Ripley folks that will
Man,
die on the hill that
Yeah,
was
I would. I
inbounds.
promise. I was down that hill every day of the week.
Yeah,
Twice on
there's
Sundays.
many.
I promise.
Michael Harrison is one
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
He'll die on that hill.
That was a good one.
Well, so anyways, that's a big game. And so you said something just a second ago I'd like to touch back on real quick about how, like, that's something you'll never forget. And that's probably the beauty of high school sports,
yeah.
especially as
Mhm.
a player and then somebody like me who's have covered it for a long time, kid, you too.
Yeah.
You played it, you covered it, like, especially for the kids in those games, man, it'll make memories that'll last a lifetime. And it's odd, some of the things,
Yeah.
even not, plays like that you'll
Yeah.
remember, but then there's
Right.
just little things that, like,
Yeah.
when you're on your deathbed, when you're
You
80
bring
something,
that
90
up.
years old, you'll
Right.
still remember,
Right.
like for me, it was played at Faulkner, and then so it was baseball. But this is not even game related, but we would play spades on the ball
trip,
bus
yeah.
going to games,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
just memories we made doing stuff like
Mhm.
that is just the friendships you make doing high school sports and the
Right, yeah.
memories you create are just something you can't hardly replicate.
Right.
Yeah.
That
I was
in
I was
life.
talking to Vince Jordan about that. We was talking about baseball and when we went and played for a state title, but those trips, because we had to go to Leland one time and turn around and come all the way back because they wouldn't let us play. But anyway, I learned how to play poker because
On the
man, that's
ball
what
bus.
yeah.
Yeah.
So man, it was just I enjoyed that, sometimes more than like the
Right.
game, just like, the trips because they were so fun,
Right.
driving down, driving back.
That's the stuff that I missed, like, way more than playing.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
being with the guys.
Being
like,
with the
Yeah.
that's, people ask me all the time, like, what do you miss playing football? No, I just miss being in the atmosphere with the guys every day. Like,
And then like what you were saying, it gives you every time, it can be 10, 15 years and you hadn't seen anybody, but you see that person and you immediately
Right,
remember
that-
some
yeah,
memory, and then y'all pick up like you
Right.
have
Yeah,
been.
and I guess that's how it's tough to replicate that. You play like high level college football and were very successful at it, and made friends, lifetime. But it's still hard to replicate how it is in high school because it's
Yeah.
people that you grew up
right,
with.
right.
So like you remember playing in the yard,
Right,
with your
right,
buddies,
right.
and then next thing you know, you're making memories on
On the
Friday Night
field,
Lights
right.
for the field, and so that's just a hard thing to replicate. We hope there's some memories made tonight. I think it's going to be a really good game.
Yeah.
You
I'm
guys,
looking
I
forward
believe it
to
will too. I'm looking forward to
I
it.
am too.
I was at Etowamba.
for the New Albany game.
Yeah, Etowamba and New Albany. I thought New Albany had a chance to beat Etowamba. They made some big plays late. That Isaac Smith, he broke one. That New Albany cut it to 7. About 8 seconds left in the third quarter. Had all the momentum. Had the crowd. Etowamba had turned it over, and man ran a counter. And Ho opened up like the Red Sea, and it went about
Turned on the
7.
Jets, and that
He
was
did.
yep.
He
Well,
did.
so I guess kind of we'll talk just a little bit. I know we're coming up on time here, but we'll just talk just a little bit about tonight. So Ripley kind of hangs their hat on their defense,
Yeah.
the running game of defense, whereas New Albany's got they're very high octane.
Yeah,
They can put up some points.
Yeah, that's what they were talking about today. The offense has kind of dialed it back like the last couple of weeks, but the defense was playing better. So that's what they talked about. So I think the defense is coming along. Should be a good one. Ripley's defense. So you're talking about that 92 team. It gave up only 63 points in 13 games, and I think Ripley has given up
21.
Yeah,
I think.
14 to Boonville, 7 to North Pontotoc. That's 21,
I went 6 to
and 6 in the first two. 6 to Hollister.
so 27
Yeah,
is what they've given up
Yeah.
for the season, I
Yeah.
believe. Either way, I looked it up the other day,
Shutouts.
and they were near the top or maybe the top in scoring defense. So I
yeah.
think it's like 4. I think it's 4.3 points per game is what
Yeah.
they're allowing. So very
It
very
should be a
stout.
good one. You know, and
We're
New
looking-
Orleans got a big stud. I'm looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, we had talked about that a little
The
before.
defensive end, he's about 6'6".
He's a big kid. We played him in the spring, and
Yeah,
I can remember him out there in the spring running around. I think he's a ninth grader.
yeah.
So
Ninth
Now,
grader.
yeah,
a lot of potential, man.
yeah. I think he's 14 years old, or he was at the time. Now, I can't remember his name, but you will be able
You'll
to pick
spot
him
him on
out.
the
I think, he,
field.
I
Yeah.
I
promise.
think he wore 95 in the
95.
spring.
That's it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And Channing
Yeah,
Ward
yeah, but Shannon Ward is
coaching there,
yeah,
kind of
coaching,
a
kind of a mentor.
yeah, kind of a
Yeah.
mentor for somebody like that on
Yeah.
the defensive line.
Yeah,
So anyway,
but he is a specimen. I promise.
He passed the eye test now.
Yeah,
He's
all
a
bus team for
good
sure.
looking kid,
Yeah.
man.
But I've heard he can actually, he's not just he looks the part,
he's
but he can
strong,
actually play a little
Yeah,
too.
I mean,
He's
man,
he,
yeah, man, he's raw, and that's
he's
something
very
you were
raw,
talking
yeah.
about how it takes a little while for
Oh, yeah,
kids
figure
like
it out.
that.
Especially on the D line.
Yeah,
When a kid figures it out on the D line, that's when if they got it, they'll
it'll click
start
over.
sticking out a
Yeah.
lot. A lot of times kids don't understand the D lineman's role sometimes.
yeah,
So it's once they figure it out, that's when they kind of start separating themselves. Like D linemen, you can tell the good ones when you see them.
yeah. But New Orleans come in at 5-1. Ripley, like we said, it's 6-0. New Orleans beat Pontotoc last week, 21-16, and Ripley they beat North Pontotoc 21-7. I talked to Dylan Barnes, who covers
For the center, yeah.
Yeah, he said that Ripley just sort of sleepwalked through the first half and had a turnover that was tough. Sort of took the air out, and but they turned it on in the second half, and so yeah, like you said, whoever wins this game, they'll be up front. I think Etowama's still undefeated, and
You still got Houston in that division
yeah,
too.
and then at Houston, Houston's playing pretty good, and I think now. I heard they lost the running back. I've heard.
Yeah, we played them a couple weeks ago, but
Yeah.
they still got some gas.
Yeah, they still got some.
They still got
Yeah,
22 and 19, 8. They got some guys that can go, man.
yeah.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, man, tonight should be a good one. It's always good between Ripley and New Albany. That was one of the games that Freddie Lopez made a huge difference last
He did.
year.
He basically hit the
Yeah,
game-winning field goal.
Yeah.
Essentially, not it wasn't his time expired or
Yeah.
anything, but it still ended up being what was the game-winning.
and then speaking of fat, was that not the game where he set the record?
That was Houston.
No, it was at
That was
Houston.
At Houston,
Yeah,
that's right.
Hmm.
At Houston it was. But yeah, man, Fat had a huge game against. We're talking about Emmanuel Griffin, but I mean he had a huge game against New Albany, and it was just great just listening to that game on the radio, like with Michael Harris. I mean, I was on the edge of my seat the entire time, and but that was a big, huge win, and that's one of the wins that Lyles talked about. Just the importance of having a kicker like Freddie.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, in a close
Freddie
game,
Lopez. I'm like, yeah.
that makes a big difference. Well, we so and that game's we're gonna have pictures and highlight videos. We're gonna be broadcasting that live on RCTV 19 tonight. Of course, Michael Harris will be there. There's gonna be if you're not gonna be at this game, you're gonna have a large
plenty of
amount
ways.
of options to keep up with the action tonight.
And you can go back and watch it.
Yeah. If you're at the game, if you're planning on going to the game, and you want to go back and kind of see some highlights and keep up with things, you can watch. You can watch the whole game on YouTube.
You'd actually be at the game and watching
the game at the same time, and listen. You could be watching it, listening to it, watching it live, just kind of like how people do at Ole Miss Mississippi State game. So you see people up there with the headsets
on, everything.
All right, so we're about out of time today, but we really appreciate you coming in and talk to us.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate y'all having me, man. Give me the opportunity to.
Yeah.
So y'all were off this week, and
we played last night.
Yeah.
Oh, you played last night. It was a Thursday
Uh-huh.
night game. That's right.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what I knew that. I don't know what I was
So just kind of wanted to come home, and I really enjoy coming back and watching these kids. Like I coached them, man, when they were freshmen.
we got just a minute. We got just a
yeah.
minute to talk about that. You coaches. So the team that's kind of leading the way
juniors
for
and
them,
seniors,
the juniors and seniors this year. You coached as ninth graders. You were around them as seventh and eighth graders. They lost one game as a junior high, I believe. No games as seventh graders. One game in the eighth grade to this New Albany team, I believe. I was at that. I went and covered that game. It was, I think, the last game of the year, I believe, when this group was eighth graders. I went and took pictures down there.
And you were talking about before that you're not surprised that
Mm-mm.
they're seeing the success.
Not on because when they were freshmen, 5 or 6 of them played as freshmen.
Yeah.
And experience is the best teacher. Like, and you get in games and you learn what to do, what not to do, how to handle certain situations, and kids grow up from playing ball games. And
Yeah.
I'm not surprised with them having the success that they have.
Yeah, Ty
That they
Long.
having.
Ty kind of got through to the fire there a
Yeah,
little
he
bit. Of the
started
he
it.
started
He started
about half
it.
the year.
Ty, C.J. Martin, Anthony Bell, Charlie Coombs played.
Charlie Coombs on the end.
Charles Christmas played.
Defensive line.
There's a few, like 5 or 6 of these kids that started and played big roles as freshmen. So, so I'm not surprised by the success that they having because, I mean, they've been in some ball games and they understand and it's paying off for them.
Yeah,
like I said,
I'm proud of them, man.
That's the best teacher. Just get out there.
Yeah.
You're not gonna learn a whole lot just studying. You gonna learn so much studying game film and practice and all.
Right.
Eventually you got to get thrown out to the wolves and see
Got to get that experience.
see what's
man.
happening. So we're like I said, we're excited for this game tonight. We're gonna check it out. And again, we really appreciate you coming in and talk to us, Rico. We're gonna see you at the game tonight.
I'll be there.
We'll be there. Maybe they'll have something good over. I'm gonna check out this tailgate situation. I'm talking about. Maybe they got some.
Yeah.
I don't know who's cooking. Whoever's cooking out there, y'all do some ribs or something. We're coming by the tailgate tonight.
Yeah, some ribs. We will definitely come by.
If you got ribs, we're coming by.
And we will take your picture.
Yeah, we will. Your picture.
We'll
If y'all
take the
want y'all want the picture, you gotta have
We
the
give
ribs.
you a live video too.
Yeah, whatever y'all want the coverage now, you have to come off some barbecue.
So yeah.
But anyway, okay, so this has been the Mississippi Sports Report. We're at the RCTV 19 studios. I'm John Myers. This is Kedrick Story. This is Mr. Rico McDonald. Thank y'all guys for talking to us today, and we'll be back next week. Y'all have a good one.